Alright. So, hey guys, so steel is pretty simple. So simple, in fact, that one of the points you can just completely forget about on defense. I will not be talking about how to hold this, by the way. Like, this is just one of those points that you never step foot on. And I'm not going to teach you bad habits. So, instead, what I am going to teach you about is the way that you'd play it on offense, because, unironically, that's when you find the most value playing this ball. And from here, we're going to go offense, then defense, back and forth, point to point. We're going to start with A, going all the way down B, C, D, and E. But for offense, if you wanted to fight A, you always could. Another option is for you to use Fist of Steel, peek for your sniper, get the sticks, check all of these areas right here. Why am I talking about this during A? Mostly because sometimes you won't be going A whatsoever. So just make sure when you're clearing sticks, sticks can appear right here, in the back of this, on these little walls, right by the staircase, on the packs themselves, maybe the corners, all around. Yeah, I mean, you're just using Fist of Steel, getting 450s, so if anybody's going to deal with them, you're going to deal with them, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to just clear them. Plus, most of the time, once you clear a few stickies, the demo debts the pile, so you end up clearing them all. Anyway, that's besides the point, though. That's more or less for B, but I just want to let that be known. Like, you don't need to always go A. Most of the time when you're going A, you're going there to help your combo cap it really consistently. And what I would do, 450, play right here. You're going to spy check this entire area. Slowly make your way up. If people are playing up over here, this is the reason why you play the back of this window, just so you can see that. Counter them. Do what you need to do, prevent anybody from jumping on you. And yeah, you're just spy checking all around this area, checking all the obvious and not obvious places. Being aware, being mindful. You always have the ammo pack, so use it. But you're never dropping down. You're playing over here. As soon as you get guys on the cap, that's when you can go ahead, go over to B. And like I said before with B, main job, just looking for people playing forward, sticky traps, and more importantly, aggression. So please, please, please look out for that. Besides that, like I said, nothing to do on defense when it comes to A. Most of this will just be you walking up, spy checking, dealing with players who are aggressive, and head glitching over here so that nobody gets any sort of denial of cap time. Besides that, offense on B is pretty simple. Most of it revolves around you playing this area, trying to get all the way up into concrete by Shack, just playing your life, aiming for the gun, all that sort of stuff. Most of it will be will be talked about. Sorry. The most prevalent thing that will be talked about is going to be the setup to it, rather than the actual attaining of that position. So, most of the setup, you want 450s. Your combo's either peeking this angle, or they're peeking the staircase, in which case you would be playing main. But let's just talk about the staircase for a bit. Remember, stick traps above, and don't assume that they're only going to be there once the demo places stickies in the initial first minute of the hold. Assume that the demo will jump up and help his heavy by placing sticky traps. They have a really easy time setting up a lot of different plays. And the more passive they play, the more you're going to have to take space, the more mistakes that are going to be made. So, to avoid that, there's a couple of plays that you can introduce. 1. Your combo takes the entire concrete pressure. They try to claim Shack, or at least the demo gets the telly so that nobody can jump up besides a soldier and a demo. And from there, that's when you can go ahead and rotate over, or you can continue fighting main, because at this point, you're just helping your team, you're doing what you need to do. And with main, it's very weird. Most of it just revolves around not taking damage before this. But using your 450s, you're managing the space, looking for where the sniper and the gun are. If the combo's playing in, no gun, no sniper, free beats. If not, just watch out for anything in particular. Mostly just where the combo's sitting, how aggressive they're playing into you. Most of the time, you're just waiting for them to walk into you. So you don't want to be too passive, you don't want to be too aggressive. All you need to do is just be aware of both of these angles if you are watching main, but more often than not, your combo is going to be walking up here if this is a job that you and your pyro would have to do. You would not be doing this alone, but your pyro would initially help with the demo, come back over to you, or will sit on you. The demo, the soldier, and maybe a scout, maybe a sniper would help peek concrete for you guys. It is very efficient for them to do this. It's also very efficient for you to peek main around the same time when the demo peaks, or when the demo calls you to peek as well. Sometimes, if this area is completely blocked off, if there's like one person sitting over there, like a soldier for example, maybe not a heavy, one of the best things that you guys can do is just full send it into main. This is pretty self-explanatory. If you have player ad, these guys are in two different areas. Maybe they don't have Uber. Maybe you guys do. Maybe it's evens. It would be much better for you to fight from this angle, assuming that nobody can play up in concrete. This is assuming that you guys already taken space, cleared out the telly, and just prevented anyone besides the explosive classes from playing up there. What this also allows is for you and your demo not to take an Uber, but for you to just initiate a push, which is always important. But remember, the biggest threats, anybody walking into you, and of course, keeping your 450s, being mindful of where the sniper, the gun are, and of course where their combo is. It also bears repeating that you should be looking out for when the demo is going to be playing up in concrete and when the heavy's going to be playing in main. If the heavy's playing in main, this then becomes who mogs the other heavy first. Essentially, right? So, remember, just keep 450. The other heavy should be 450 as well. You're always going to have a pyro with you, so it's not an unfair fight. And sometimes you might have a sniper playing with you, which would be nice, but it's not always a guarantee. Remember, your main goal is just protecting this area until your demo's calling you to push, or when you guys fully send it, you have an easy target that you all should be focusing and no one should be dying, or if somebody's dying, then it's going to be a trade. With that being said, that's pretty much it for main. Most of it is going to look like this, unironically. If people are playing all the way back, there's no better angle for you to take other than this. If not, you could try playing the head glitches, like so. You could try taking space away from them, trying to take these windows. If not, maybe you're playing on the point itself, watching for anybody trying to come through. But again, just making sure that nobody's getting through here is how I'd prefer to play it. It also is important to mention that this heavy and drop down is a threat, especially since if you're playing up by the window and you're not peeking, you would be shot from there. I'm not going to answer that question. Yeah, most of it is just going to be trial and error. For me, what I like to do is sometimes I just like to get a little bit of high ground. I'm on the wall, spies can't stab me. I don't have to worry about this being a threat as well. I'm just focusing exclusively on the combo fight. If they run away, I take space away from them. And of course, I continue making that pressure for as long as I can. Teammates are on the point. Maybe I'm on the point, playing this spot. But whatever works, you're just managing this space. You're helping with cap. Maybe you can do one or the other. But it generally is considered good for you to play like this. It's also generally good for you to play like this. Playing up top, maybe by the point like so. Just be mindful, alright? Be mindful of the heavy playing up by the window, by drop down. Be mindful of the combo walking out from B-spawn or wishbone. One or the other. And of course, if people are weird, also be mindful of people playing by slow gate. Now with that being said, let's talk about concrete. Concrete is also pretty simple. If you're planning to push on this with your team, you never want to be the first one to peek unless it's a completely even fight, in which case, you get a buff with your soldier, assuming that it's also a heavy and a soldier. You guys peek together. If the heavy's close, you should just hang back, just try to abuse the corner as much as you can. If the heavy's playing this angle though, you and your soldier have to work together. Or you and your demo have to work together. It's not always exclusively just your soldier. It could also be your demo as well. And the entire point of this is, watching out for stickies. You're slowly claiming the space. As soon as you have this, you block off the angle, the demo takes care of the telly, push the heavy back. And there's very little room for him to actually make it back up without fully rotating into your main. With that being said though, if you see no heavy up here, that means one of two things. One, he's either playing this corner, if he's smart, or he's playing over by main and somebody who's not committing is watching concrete. Not playing it, watching. So it's very important that you don't show yourself and you abuse the fact that you can see people through this window. If this heavy drops down and is playing by main, maybe he's playing far so he gets spotted. There is an opportunity for you to peek at the exact same angle that he's looking at, but there's also a world where playing up here and not showing yourself until an Uber exchange fades, that will also work as well. But just be careful though. The main things that make it work, the telly's dead, people are pushed out of concrete, and somebody's claiming territory over it. Or, if nobody's able to claim this space, it's not necessarily a win condition all the time. It can be, but you shouldn't put all of your eggs in that basket. Sometimes it would be better for you to just walk main with your combo. Like I said, if it's just one person on here as well, then it's going to be very, very hard for them to help their team if they're not hiding. And if people are walking through main, their combo's cleared out, now you can clear concrete with no issue. And anybody who's sitting up there is just going to get mulched before their combo walks back in. Yes, it is very long for people to respawn on red. Not as much, but around 20-30 seconds, somewhere around that mark. For blue, you spawn significantly quicker. It's also helped by the fact that the spawn is right here, and you're just doing one of these two plays. Like I said before, sometimes you don't want to be the first one peeking, sometimes you want your demo to peek, and your main job is to just shadow him so he doesn't die. Another thing is also sniper, like we talked about beforehand. One play could be a sniper is trying to peek this angle, he takes the shot, and then as soon as he takes it, you guys are in. No error, no room for error. If the demo's not there, you're jump revving, getting the telly, and then jumping back out, and just being mindful of where the gun is and where their combo's sitting. If their combo's playing passive, this spot gains more precedent. If the gun's dead, this spot gains more precedent. When they're playing along this wall, nobody's checking over here, you can abuse that. But again, it's not necessarily a win condition all the time. If you can get up there and it works, it works. But sometimes you want to simplify it, go into main, help your combo push this angle, and again, if nobody's up here, there should be no reason for you to go up there as well. The telly's dead, people are not watching this. If one or two people are up there, you clear the combo, you spam them out, and then you focus the combo again. And again, like I said before, you're just managing the window, hitting on the point, abusing any sort of head glitch that you can. If they take an Uber into you, you could back up, maybe eat in the corner, and just go from there. But yeah, generally B is pretty simple. Once you understand the normal gameplay loop, you're going to realize that concrete is not as much of a priority as it once was. And yeah, just holding it on red becomes a lot more difficult with the newer strats, with just the general consistency of newer players. Newer players, they're becoming a lot more consistent than they were back then. So assume that these plays are going to be implemented around your level. If not because of me, you guys are going to be implementing it, and people are going to be studying, and there will be the good eggs who study it completely and understand it thoroughly. Besides that though, like I said before, 2 angles. This is great for team fights. Concrete, really great to just pressure them out. Gauge which angle works best. As soon as you're able to take space, prevent them from taking any more. Help your combo cap or be a part of the cap as well. Watch out for the heavy and drop down. Watch out for Ubers in Wishbone, in B-Spawn, and of course watch out for drop down for anything else. Should be pretty simple. Alright, let's see. And as for defense, this is also pretty simple. Most of it will revolve around concrete, and most of the time you're going to be playing with people. Sometimes you will be playing alone, and from here I'll just show you how to do it. If you're playing alone, abuse this corner, watch out for spies, by shack, just playing around this area. Again, this is a much better angle for them to sit than you will, because if you're playing up here, it doesn't remove any of the threats that a sniper is able to pose onto you. In fact, it makes it worse. So, use this angle, you spot the sniper, you're able to peek people who are going drop downs, who are going, well, I guess it is drop down, yeah. I called it drop down twice, my bad. Fuck, I forgot what I think this was drop down. And then this was just windows or secret or whatever it's called. Or this was who cares? You can manage both of these spaces at the exact same time, gauge what is going to be best for you, but of course this is the main thing you want to be looking for. If people walk main, it's not necessarily a throw if you go like this, but be aware you are more exposed for that. And it could be a play on their part, so please be careful. The main idea is that you watch for sniper, watch for anybody walking in. If they're stupid, you just easily counter them. Wait for them to walk into you, but if you know they're over there, they're walking into you, might as well take the initiative. You're just aiming to control the space. Don't let them get any free room unless you're planning on baiting them into a false sense of security. With that being said though, they're smart, their sniper's peeking, you don't peek, their heavy and soldiers start peeking you, and if they're smart, they're slowly walking in. There's slow burn. You don't want to take that fight. One of the best things for you to do is for you to drop down, take the telly, and from there try to fight it from shack, in which case it's going to look something like this. You'll take the telly, the heavy and soldier might walk into you, so be careful in that initial second that you're taking the teleporter. If they don't walk into you, you walk into them, and of course be mindful that the sniper might be there, so this play might not always work. People might get wise, and from there you're just going to have to let people know that concrete is taken. You can't hold it anymore. And you're either playing the head glitch, or you're playing in main with the idea that a soldier and demo are locking down concrete. And very simply, if you're playing main, it's just standard stuff. Hold the angle, walk into them if you want, but do it when it's best applied. Just get a buff always. Sometimes you'll take Uber exchanges, don't walk into them, just hold this angle. Unless they're all dead, in which case you could take a little bit of space, and if they're all out, then you could just reclaim concrete. And then, of course, if you're playing with a soldier, your soldier gives you whips, you equip the GRU, you make the jump, and you don't have to worry about rotating at all. You just get concrete for free. It's what I do with my soldier, and it's the best thing to do on this map, in my opinion. It's so satisfying to get whips, use the GRU, jump up, and act like nothing happens, because really, that's what this does. It just enables you to be a much faster, more efficient heavy. With that being said though, if an Uber's taken main, you're still up on concrete, there's a couple of things that you can do to help out your team, if not just try to make the best of a situation. If nobody's peeking here, maybe you can see like a heavy's peeking through main. There's always a chance that you could just play in the window, call your team that you're playing concrete, they back up, you're staying up here, you're watching out for people walking into you. If you're spotted by that point, you're kind of giving them what they want. So maybe an idea might be to play shack, waiting for a little bit. If people don't see you by then, maybe they start spamming out this area just because, maybe they didn't clear out the telly, or maybe the new telly appeared. So at that point, you're just hoping that your team walks in and helping your team by taking the fight like this. Of course, this isn't always going to happen, but against the more negligent teams, this might work. Alternatively, if you're playing in main, you notice that the Uber's worse for you, you could always back up. No shame in it. But just remember, if you're playing the backwards angle, or not the backwards angle, if you're playing the far passive angle, you're allowing them room to get cap time. You playing over here, while it's fine if you're trying to re-push into them, it's not going to always work. If you're playing close, like let's just say they take an Uber, You're holding concrete, but you're holding it a bit passive. You're watching out for spy. This is an angle that you can try to refight from. This runs in line with the gun, but honestly, if you're playing it smart, you're not going to stand in that angle for too long. You're going to reclaim space. If not, just help your team restabilize something before taking that space back. And of course, if you have a soldier with you, whip, screw, jump is so easy. But if your team is playing all the way back, like let's just say you guys have disad, they have full ad, you know that it's going to be a lost fight. Instead of sitting up here, what you could do is just completely back out of the fight. If you notice that your team is losing this, that's when you can go ahead and play this wall. If you already know that your team is at a disadvantage, maybe they're taking the Uber early, maybe they're walking into them, it's a good idea to just play on this wall just in case. You're watching the window, watching for people going up into concrete. You're just being mindful of it. This does, however, leave them to get what they want to do. Like, you're not too much of a deterrence if they're right below them. So, you're calling them out, but you're not doing much to stop them. It's just long-term sustain is what you're providing over here. It's information, it's necessary, and you're more so focused on the main fight. When you're playing over here, you're able to give immediate information on both angles, get information on both angles as well. You're able to spy check, which is also a pretty important thing that I've neglected to mention. So, when you're playing up in concrete, just check around the angles a little bit, just normal like that. And of course, checking shack. But yeah, this prevents them from getting any sort of space onto the people right below them. With that being said, if they're smart, maybe they jump rev, maybe they go onto your medic. At that point, it's just can you damage them much faster than they could damage your team. If they win, they win. If they lose, they lose. Simple as that. Besides that, if you're losing all the space, no better way for you to play than for you to play by drop down, by window. You're just playing this first window, you're never really going to the second. The reason why I say that is because this angle is just an angle for sniper to sit in, so you're inviting yourself to die. At least when you're playing over here, it's very simple. You don't need to overcommit. Keep the angle as need be. You're able to help your team. If they're winning the fight, that's when you drop down. Don't drop down unless you're weird. But in all seriousness, like, if you know that they're playing up by this area, don't drop down. You're only giving what they want. Like, this heavy doesn't just have to peek over here. You could peek right below. Just do this and be weird. You don't want to take any sort of chances on defense. Your respawn timers are way too long. So play conservative. Do what you need to do. If they back up, that's when you drop down. Because this is the fastest way for you to get back. And of course, you hug the wall. And from there, you're either playing main, or you're going all the way back up into concrete. If your guys are losing this fight, instead of backing up into the spawn, try leaving with your team in main, or in a wishbone, going all the way over to C. If not, you're playing in wishbone, you're doing what you need to do, but we're going to talk about that right after we start talking about what you're going to be seeing on offense for C. So C is pretty self-explanatory on offense. Most of it is just playing with your soldier in slow gate, slow door, whatever you want to call it. And if you know that they're sitting in wishbone by the time this opens, you and your soldier should be making plans and making a play to drop down and trying to fight them from wishbone from behind. There are ways for them to spot you before that happening, but if you play it right, this should be much better for you to just take control of. And even if you're not dropping down, let's just say, you're preventing them from leaving altogether if they choose to sit in wishbone. Normally, teams leave by the point that the slow gate opens. They do not want to get caught up in the mess, they do not want to die, so they're going to leave, they're going to play a much more standard hold, and you should be expecting that. If they are still sitting there, that's their fault, and you are capitalizing off of that. I just want to make that clear. With that being said, though, if you know that they're out of wishbone, they're playing on C, and when I mean they're playing on C, you're looking out for the heavy playing this, you're looking out for soldiers playing along these rocks, maybe he's playing on this non-committal angle, just spamming you out, being ready to leave at a moment's notice. You're also being mindful of sniper, being mindful of where the gun is. Usually the gun should be up in heaven on E by that time. But yeah, most of the time you're just aiming to see what you can get. You could try walking all the way over to here. It's a really nice angle for you to just get a lot of spam, get a lot of damage, instantly drop down, start getting onto the cap. And by the way, whenever you're playing the cap, always play it over here. It gives you valuable information. You're able to watch the pack. You're able to watch people leaving their spawn. So if they go Death Hall, you're calling it. If they go C, you're calling it. And you're still getting cap time. Don't stand like this unless you want a head glitch on them, in which case it's pretty good. But yeah, I just like having the information, and as soon as I have it, I just go back to the head glitch. Plus, it's just nice. You know, you get to jump up here. And you get the cap. It rarely ever happens, so take what you can get. Besides that, though, you're just watching the pack. You're watching this area over there. Of course, if people are walking in front of you, you're just spamming them out. They should not be incentivized to walk in. Your demo should be spamming it out as well. So make more of an effort to peek over here. Maybe you could drop down and do that. But again, you don't get the information. You get information by standing up on this at least. So be mindful. And yeah, like I said, most of the time you're just aiming to help yourselves. You're getting space, but you can also get space with your sniper. Your sniper can rotate with you in slow door, and from there, this point should be easily cappable. If you guys lose it with your sniper on hill, something went terribly wrong. But yeah, like I said, the major threats, soldier, sniper, and heavy. Heavy should be playing the head glitch. If he's not, maybe he's playing up here, but he needs to be seen, he needs to be spammed out. Don't let him get any space. And remember, when this heavy's playing over here, he's not playing just to sit here all the time. Granted, he can. And there are weird plays that you can do on defense to make Slowgate a living hell. But his main ideal is for him to get info on who's peeking over here. And if their combo's playing Wishbone, he's yelling at them to turn around and deal with the heavies walking in. If you're walking into them, he drops down and meets you and starts dealing damage to you before you're able to do damage to them. There's a greater chance at you dying. So, like I said before, this heavy needs to die. And this is only if they're playing aggressive. Not playing Wishbone, but just playing aggressive in general. If they know you guys are trying to take a C fight, and they know that your combo's trying to play Wishbone, they're going to be playing for it. They're going to have people sitting below. They're going to have people sitting right here just spamming their combo. Heavy will be playing over here, and somebody will be watching hill besides that heavy. So maybe soldier, maybe a sniper, but somebody's always going to be there. You and your soldier, you guys are always going to have to deal with that. Sometimes it could just be as simple as not peeking directly into the angle, but maybe Fist of Stealing going past. This heavy can't easily jump up. If he does, it's telegraphed and you can easily check this direction. If he's still playing the angle, this becomes much better for you to try and deal with him at. Maybe it's not 1-to-1, maybe it's not like a 50-50 fight, but it's definitely better than whatever the hell this was. And of course, if you're able to take the space, they're down on the floor, easy pickings, but only if the heavy and soldier or anybody else, like a sniper, is just not fighting you. So again, just please be mindful. You're not only playing Slowgate, but you're watching it. So, if you're not able to peek, you're just sitting back, you're letting your team know you can't peek Slowgate. Once you're ready to peek, tell your team you're ready to peek Slowgate. Be mindful of the people who are playing by this area, and make plans to counter them. Sorry, I was about to cough. My bad. But yeah, besides that, the other angle that you would normally push is just over here, but I really don't like this because of this drop down, which is why I'd much rather you play on the cliff, making sure nobody's in this area, and that's when you drop down and try getting on point this way. I just think that it's a little bit more efficient than you playing over here, because there's always a chance that they can just mollywop you from above and you're not going to be able to deal with it. Then they send people over here. If you walk this angle, you invite that. Granted, it is the fastest way for you to get there. And it does have immediate value. Once you get to this spot, now you can start dealing damage to these people, and then you're closer towards the point than you were over here. But it carries more risks, so please be careful. And of course, with everything being done, said, all that sort of stuff, once you cap it, there's 3 ways that you can play it. And some of which will involve death. Mandatory death. One of them will be charging headlong into Death Hall, in which case you're being mindful of the people in spawn, and checking to see if the combo's playing over here. You're just committing with your combo. The entire idea with this, and it's surprising, is to just respawn faster. Because you're on offense, usually these spawns are instantaneous, or 3 seconds, something along those lines. They're no longer like multi-second long endeavors. They are near instant. This means that if you guys are in a caught position, it'd be much better for you to try and take the trade, and then if you take the trade, you're actually better off because they now have 30-second timers, and now you guys can spawn instantly, go lobby, and it's just really nice. With that being said, though, there's a lot of risks, and we're going to talk about one of these in particular because I think that Heavy can be very dynamic on DE holds. But it requires a team that knows what to do, and you're going to have to play a little bit passive on defense. But for offense sake, the most you got to worry about if you're walking Death Hall is presence prior to and presence during. If people know you're here, the push is kaput. You still commit with it because you need to die in order for you to rotate as fast as possible, because if you die, that's the fastest rotation. But besides that, that's pretty much it. If you're taking a fight through Death Hall, going into D, it's going to look something like this. You're managing the high ground, you're only dropping down when your team is ready for you to drop down, you're managing the spawn, and once your team is able to get some cap time, you're still staying up here, don't drop down. Once they cap, alright, now you can consider dropping down, or you can go ahead and maybe go into lobby, but dropping down, trying to aim for the gun is also good as well. Just be mindful that it's not always going to work, and your team is going to want you to stay up for as long as they are fighting the point. And that's only if it works. But again, it's really nice to have those options. The other idea is for you to rotate into Wishbone and try to take a fight into E. And for you, this is the worst option because you just cap. And if people are taking control of Heaven, that's really nice, right? They should have complete control over Heaven. The bridge is just starting to spawn. You're not going to be able to deal with the gun. There's no guardrails helping you stay in place. Their combo is playing over here now, if they didn't instantly die. So maybe this could be good as a rotate for your demo to call if they all wipe. Like, if their combo wipes, you're able to clear the gun and you're able to get free cap time on E. That would be good. But, more importantly, you're kind of just left to the devices of your own team. You're not going to have much control in a lot of these situations. And this case in particular is really bad at that. So be mindful of when you play this angle. It's going to be good only if your team allows you the opportunity for it to be good. You could make opportunities, but it's going to be based off of the flaws that the other team makes. And like
Also,
I say,
sometimes you get your head blown off by the sniper who
That-
decides to be funny.
that too. I mean, he plays by the connector, he plays by spawn. Not much you can do. So, one of the things that you can do with this, if the combo does rotate out of C early, and they start walking into lobby, you could see that prior to, and then you could choose to either commit into Heaven, because now you know where the combo's at, and they're not in a position to help their flank. Or you just back up, because trying to rotate over here as a team with the gun still up is cancer. So, the third option is for you to rotate all the way back. And to spawn going all the way over to A in the lobby. And to this is the longest rotate, but simultaneously the quickest. You want to know how? As soon as you cap C, You're not going to commit into Death Hall. You see your team walking in. Oh, we're going lobby? Alright, cool. I'm not fucking with you. That is legit the fastest way to do it.
I should.
You kill bind. You equip the Fist of Steel because the Gru is no longer applicable. And from there, you try taking the lobby fight. We will talk more about the lobby fight when it comes to DE. But first, we need to go back to C defense and just talk about that for a little bit. Just a teensy little bit. Nothing too extravagant, you're just managing the angles. If your team is playing aggressive, no better place for you to stand than right over here. You're abusing the head glitch, you're preventing people from walking through, and you're seeing them walking through, so you're calling it out. Once you see people, you should be calling for people to help you fight with them. The sooner you clear this out, the sooner they're able to get back to what they're trying to do, and the more opportunities you have to play aggressive. So you can make the jump, try playing aggressive like so, but it's not always going to work out. So don't do this all the time unless you have people with you. If you have people with you, this becomes like so fun to try and do. But if you have people with you, they're smart. Your soldier is just going to be spamming. Maybe your sniper rotates a little bit just to help with the angle. Your main goal, don't get stabbed, don't die. Your life is important. Treat it as such. You're watching for people, and you're being mindful of when your combo leaves Wishbone. As soon as they do, you leave as well. From there, pretty simple, you're just playing over by the pack, and you're playing very conservative, or you're playing very liberal. If you know they're walking through Wishbone, nobody's making any attempt to go through slow door, this is the best place to stand. You just prevent them from getting any space. Of course, if they are smart, they're going to have people playing by slow door. Maybe they're going to have another heavy or soldier peeking right there. So, your main goal is instead of fighting the combo, which you can choose to fight instead if they are directly underneath you, but most of the time they're going to be smart, you're going to see that a lot of them play along this diagonal. Right where this crack is, or where the turn is, the 90 degrees. If they are still on their half, they have a chance to just leap through hell. You expose yourself and you might die. If they're playing over here, commit for this kill, or commit for damage, but don't die if it means that you're going to live. Just as long as you are preventing them from getting immediate space, and you're causing some chaos, your team is helping you out throughout all of this. That's what you need to do. You don't want to overcommit. You just want to do what you need to do in order for you to survive the onslaught. Sometimes you need to play on the back wall, because stickies will be spammed towards you. Maybe a soldier bombs you, which is crazy enough, but it happens sometimes. The heavy might play this angle. He might play on the floor. If he's in this angle, play it a little bit more conservative. If he's playing on the floor, he's retarded. I'm sorry, but like that's just not what you should be doing when the heavy's playing up here. So, yeah, besides that, if they get C, you could try refighting like this, but it's really not good. Best angle for you to refight is from the pack itself, and even then, people should be playing on it by this time, so you will be spammed out. Might just be better to cut your losses and to start playing DE. So, let's talk about that. I've already talked about the push through Death Hall. This will remain the same throughout any sort of push. It is just getting space with your combo. You're still playing up here. You're watching the spawn. You're watching Death Hall. Your combo drops down, fights their combo. You are there for support. If they walk into you, you change your targets immediately and focus the combo members. And if you're playing up close to the wall, meaning that you're ignoring the spawn in order for you to peek this, this gives you the best sightline against them. But again, don't drop down. Just keep tabs on everybody. If you want to play a little bit better, this might be a good angle, because you're able to see people walking at you. There's more decisiveness. You could be a little bit more careful if they choose to peek over here. This gets completely exposed if people are playing by this spawn, which again is just part of the drawback. If they're focusing you, you guys are still getting cap time. If they're focusing the cappers, the fuck are they doing? But really though, they focus the cappers, they don't have to worry about any sort of cap time besides you. So, yeah. I don't know. Just be mindful when you're playing this spot. You're as much watching the angle like this as you are just making sure that nobody's walking through on the floor, through lobby, even just by playing the, lockers. Yeah. I've already talked about that. The other thing I should talk about is just playing lobby. And lobby, you can do one of two things. You can either fight all the way through, or you can go ahead and fight CDE. Or my bad, A to E. But before that, you're going to have to take control of this one room. You get 450s, assuming that there's no sniper playing by this angle. Most of it will be pretty self-explanatory. You peek, making sure nobody's in this angle, no stickies above, no stickies above. If they're playing close, you are playing very liberal, trying to get the angle. And if they, walk into you, be prepared for that. If they're not walking into you, be prepared to walk into them. The best place for another heavy to stand is right here. The best place for a demo to stand is right here. If you're spamming the demo out, this heavy's going to try and take this fight soon. But he's going to wait for his demo to initiate, or he's going to initiate with his demo. Regardless, you should be taking space mindfully. Don't do it at random. Don't go this spot if you know that you're going to not win this fight. You want to play aggressive when you want to play aggressive. If you need to play passive, well, you play passive right there. Don't step foot inside unless you know that this is going to be a winning fight for you. Or it's going to be an even fight for you, and you want to just try and take it by the horns. With that said, you are still not a part of the Uber. If the Ubers pop, you're playing back here, you're conserving your health as much as possible. 450s, Ubers are about to fade 6, 8 seconds later. Boom, you're in. You're playing aggressive, being mindful of this corner as well. And, of course, being mindful of any single play up here, because I'm pretty sure Soldier can stand on one of these spots. I forgot where. Maybe up here. Yeah, I think up there. No, it's up there. But yeah, you're just managing the angle, fighting this fight. If they back up, that's one thing. If they all die, that's another. If they start backing up, assume that they're going to start holding by D. From there, you're going to have to be mindful of the people walking at you from D to lobby connection. So, what do you do then? This fight is not for you. You take lockers. From here, you have a sight line, and you have a goal. Don't peek first. Peek when your team is walking through. Look for information, be a support for your team when you need to be. And of course, don't sit in this angle for a prolonged period of time. You show yourself for a prolonged period of time, people know what you're going to try to do. So if you're peeking this angle, you're doing it fast, you're doing it so quick that they're not going to be able to notice you. Or by the time they notice you, it's too late. However, with that being said, if they're smart, they're going to have their classes looking at you from the window, and they're going to have somebody watching this angle, maybe from over here, maybe they're just allowing you to take some space, or trying to peek you, and you're just spamming them out. But the entire point is for you to just avoid situations like that. So, when you're playing lockers, the best piece of advice I can say to you is to avoid trying to take bad fights. Keep 450s, lock this angle down with your team. If you know they have Uber ad, play back. You are not going to be able to hide in lockers with that giant ass window. So don't even try. Don't hide over here by the large pack. And recognize that when you're peeking this spot right here, now the people in heaven can see you. So it's not just the people over here who can see you by DE connector. It's point and heaven. With all that said though, it's an even fight or it's ad. You're locking down this angle with your team. You're preventing anybody from getting through over here. Because that's equally as important. You're just being mindful. You're either slowly walking up if you know it's a winning fight. Or You're quickly in because your team needs support. They walk in, you wait for them to walk in, you wait for people to make mistakes as well. Right? Like if this heavy's playing this angle, he doesn't know you're over there. Now you see that minigun fire, or now you can see the minigun bullets firing through. That's your first target. It's just smart general play. Just look for opportunities like that. You see the heavy over here? He's shooting your combo. You shoot him first, manage the area, take control of it, do what you need to do. Maybe you don't want to commit, so you can hide over here. Maybe you do want to commit, so you're playing over by the crates. But again, I'd prefer to just play a very non-committal heavy, while still simultaneously being a great support. I'm watching the drop down from this. I'm watching connector. I'm watching the spawns. I'm just helping my team cap the point. But I'm not on the point myself. Sometimes it pays to play a little bit selfish. So, that's the way that I really like to play it. Is it beneficial for you to be on the point? Absolutely. Is it going to win you every game? No. Not always. So, that's holding this area. And, because we're going to be talking about DE simultaneously, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about E offense as well. Now, E offense is one of those things that kind of comes to you, or you have to build up to it. If you are fighting from AB, there is a chance where you can go ahead and try to take E, but the only way that you can really consistently do that is just by having some sort of pressure. Well, not even, sorry, my bad. Let me just think about the way that I want to word this. To start trying to fight ABE is for you to get space in Wishbone. Them being committed in a place elsewhere. Let's just say, like, by C, for example. Your combo is then trying to get into lobby. People are on the cap, and you have heaven. Your engineer's playing by heaven, helping his team. Some people are on the cap, like a soldier and a scout. And your main role, your main goal, is to rotate all the way over to heaven as fast as possible. Or is to fight the angle if you're not able to rotate as fast as possible. Fight the angle where their combo's trying to walk at you from. Usually it's going to be Wishbone. Sometimes, if they're smart, it's going to just be their spawn. And yeah, like I said, there's not much that you can do with just AB. But that's been a strategy of the past, and I feel like that, out of every single other play, might be the least consistent. It's just hard. I mean, there's no guarantee that the flank is not going to be here. There's no guarantee that you get heaven. There's no guarantee that if you're going to get cap time over here, it's going to be fruitful. Right, it might be good to force them to rotate, and then you take C with it. That's an idea. But ABE itself, I don't think is very valid, because if this is allowed to happen, something went terribly wrong on defense. You can use it to pressure combo to rotate over to E, and when that happens, that's when you can rotate over to C and try to take it for free. I could see that being a play. A smart one of that. It's good. But as a standalone thing, I think it's terrible. With that being said, there's also AE. Instead of trying to fight B, for example, you guys are all committing onto E. And this is very important. You're sitting up here, still trying to, prevent people from walking through. But one class in particular is going to stop this play from happening, and it's going to be Spy. If the Spy is alive, and you choose to go for this play, it might be super duper telegraphed, right? I say might because maybe the Spy is running Dead Ringer and is being a complete bitch by doing this. Popping Dead Ringer, going back to spawn. Popping Dead Ringer, going back to spawn, and simultaneously getting info. Which is why I want you to play it like a normal game, right? If the Spy dies, however, whether you just find them in the right place because you're smart when you're leaving the spawn initially, or he's just not there, Then it leads to phase 2. You guys are all playing over by A, waiting for the slow gate to open, and you're going fast through here. Blitzing through even if there's people watching this angle. The best classes for that are Scout, Spy, Soldier, people who could just spam you out. They don't need to do a whole bunch of damage, they just need to call your presence. And from there, it's a race against time. The sooner they spot you, the worse the push is going to be. For you, it's pretty self-explanatory. You hold the shutter. Hold it either from this angle or you hold it from this angle. Your combo's job is to get Wishbone as fast as possible. If they are smart and they have one person sitting by the shutter, this team is going to rotate over here faster. And if they get this and you're still not there, they have free reign over your cap. They're going to put a gun over here. And I forgot to mention this, by the way, on B defense. The heavy doesn't move from the spot if his team is going all the way through. He is the sole person watching watching B at some points. Because the gun getting moved all the way into Wishbone is much better than a heavy playing Wishbone. You could do the exact same things, but you will surprisingly do less damage to the people on point than a level 3 gun. But that's besides the point. If your team gets this angle and somehow doesn't get air blasted off, they win the fight in Wishbone, you just won the game. Like, straight up, you just won the game. Your job, pretty simple. 450, sit over here, don't die. Play different angles so that the sniper is not aware of where you're going to be playing. And of course, if your combo cannot get this area, or if they die, the pushes could be much better to just run it. Or to try and salvage for something. Maybe you know that your combo is dying, so you figure, why the hell not? I'm just gonna go for a play. Something needs to be called when this happens, you know? You don't want to generally do this alone. I don't want to suggest that. But if you're making a play, it'd be much better with a spy, with other people trying to pinch forward as well. Maybe have a soldier playing over by Wishbone. Maybe he's playing over by C. If that's the case, maybe they try to commit into you. You can hold the angle, tell your soldier to peek, or help you peek. He gives you the go-ahead, you guys peek together, and maybe you get a kill. And it works if the spy also is sitting in Wishbone and doesn't get caught. You're a distraction. You're aiming to just focus on one target. Your spy either helps you with that target or goes for another. Again, most of it is circumstantial. If you're playing the spot, try to get people to play with you. But if not, you're already committed. Might as well go for a play. But again, just be mindful of the Wishbone fight. This really does make or break. And again, if people are on heaven, this push is kaput. But again, your flank wins this fight. They set a gun up in heaven. Then they have to deal with the gun in heaven. So you're at that weird point of stalemate where you're not getting any cap time. They're not doing anything other than holding this area. Their flank is in limbo because they're trying to fight a gun. You're sitting in limbo because you're watching a goddamn spawn. There's a time for you to just back up and go into B. And in fact, that's exactly what one of these plays ends up being. Instead of rotating out from A to B, which can be telegraphed, what could also be telegraphed is for people to try and respond to you playing in AE. So what you could do is just go AB. What this looks like, you guys feint committing. Like maybe you go slow gate for a little bit, and then you just back up, you go all the way through drop down. And you try fighting B like normal. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty old school strategy. Usually it's better with other classes. Heavy's just kind of not really good in this spot. And then there's ABCE, like we've talked about beforehand. You get C, maybe you kill all of their combo members, so you start fighting. But this is mainly a thing that you should be considering if you have heaven or you can get heaven as soon as possible. Right, you don't want to take chances with it. Just Do what needs to be done. Have that in the back of your mind. But again, most consistently, you're either going into Death Hall and dying for D, or getting D, or you're rotating all the way around to lobby to take the fight. In which case you'd kill bind because it's faster than you just running with your combo. And then there's A, B, C, D. The full rotation. We talked about everything so far. And whether you pushed D from Death Hall, or you pushed it straight from lobby. Now, you're faced with a little bit of a conflict. What do you do from then? It depends on where you're pushing from. If you're pushing from Wishbone, there is not much that I can really say for you to do. Because if they have this angle, right? They're holding this angle. They're doing everything that they can. A sniper is going to be placed up here before D is capped. And once D is capped, now their sniper might be playing on the gun. Maybe the sniper is playing on D. Maybe his combo's rotating all the way over, so it's a Wishbone, so he follows. There's a wide variety of plays that that sniper can do. So please get intel on where that sniper is playing. Wishbone is generally better at focusing on point and focusing on heaven control if the gates are widely available, but also if there's nobody heaven or your team wins heaven. This is the only time for you to consider Wishbone. In my opinion, point time is important. You should be standing on it if nobody's going to walk into you. But it's important for you to consider that Wishbone is just a vessel for you to get closer towards the point or heaven. But it's not really good at fighting any of these. Maybe fighting point if you're on defense, but if you're on offense and people are sitting on the point, what are they doing? So, the main fight is going to be happening over by heaven, over by DE connector. This is important, because if you're trying to fight it from Wishbone, sniper, soldier, gun, people rotating over, it's a travesty. So, I don't suggest pushing over here. The same issues kind of apply over here as well. You know, it has the same exact issue, but you can choose not to commit and fight from lobby. What this does do is kind of telegraphs your push. Think about it from their perspective. They watch where you're going, and you just exposed yourself over here. So, you're going to be playing in this angle and trying to fight with your combo in lobby. And there's no other alternative that you can do other than running all the way over to Wishbone, which, like I said before, is trash. So, you're going to be playing lobby. You're not running away. You're playing lobby. With that being said, you cap D, and assuming there's no heaven pressure, you be mindful of any single person hiding in these angles, especially this, and of course, in the room with the pack itself. And this corner over here, but sometimes that's usually a non-factor. If you see no gun, you're helping your team, you're playing up here, and you're just watching for everything that we talked about so far. You're watching for a fight from DE connector and from lobby. You can also choose to head glitch a little bit, but it's much better on defense than it is for offense. What you can do is body glitch. And again, like I said before, you're not only watching these areas, you're watching heaven as well. You're watching the spawns. If you didn't cap D and you're just fighting E, once you cap D, these close. It's just these three angles. It's very simple for you to work out a plan. But if you're just doing this without a decap, this is what you're going to need to manage. Watch out for people trying to walk into you. Prevent people from walking into all of these spaces so they can deal damage to people on point. And if for any reason the demo or somebody else drops down here like a heavy, like a demo, like a soldier, you do the same. Only if you can secure the kill. But generally, if the demo's spamming 2 or more pipes, consider dropping down as soon as possible. Or even if you see a pipe from hell, I would just try to drop down and fight that demo. But again, I'd rather you guarantee a kill, so be mindful when you play it. Besides that, though, that's the end game for offense. You take control of cap, you take control of heaven. You're much better at controlling heaven than you are sitting on the point, but that's not to say that point is bad in any way. If you're sitting on the point, you're helping it get capped, but you're also playing the bridge. And for this, I'm going to go ahead and do no clip. I almost fucked that up. Why didn't this work? Hold on. It didn't apply.
Your server's local, right? Oh no, because you use server me, so you do need our con.
Okay, there we go. That was weird. My bad. But generally when you're playing on the point, you have an opportunity to just hold here, do what you need to do. What this can allow you to do is walk at people if they are fighting an angle. What this means is that if you don't have heaven, you're sitting on the point, and you know that they're going to be fighting DE connector, you can walk into them, choose to fight it from there. And of course you're going to have a head glitch, you're going to have a body glitch. There's just going to be a lot going for you in that favor. You can play the way that you want to play. However aggressive, however passive. My suggestion? Play on the middle of the bridge. If there's enough people capping, it's great. If you're one of the only cappers, sit on it for a little bit. If you notice that people are starting to walk through, that's when you walk into the bridge and try to fight. If you see a sniper, you just play the angle. Remember, you're just aiming to control space. If they take an Uber into you, not much that you can do in this position unless you yourself have a pyro or are also getting Ubered. And that's not to say that if you cap this, or if you cap C, and you didn't cap D, that people over here are going to try taking heaven as well. This is where you're going to see a heavy playing this head glitch like I talked to you about beforehand. So be mindful. Sometimes it is better for you to just take the space if it's given to you. It prevents situations like that from happening, but it's important for me to tell you how to fight this regardless of what the situation is. So, with that being said, that's pretty much it for offense. There's not much too different that you would be normally doing, and there's not much too different that I've previously said in my past review on this. However, however many years that was. It was probably only like a year and a half, most. But anyway. Now it's time for me to talk about what I think is my favorite part of this. Besides the jump on second. It's playing DE connector. And we're going to just be talking about what to be doing in this spot. But the main idea is flexibility and rotation. What does that mean? No matter what we're going to be talking about, you're going to have an answer for every single one of these situations. And I want you to get prepped on it because it is very important for you to manage this well. And it's going to be from an angle you're not expecting. We're actually standing in the spot where I want you to play. One thing that you can do, if you know that they are going to try and cap D, you can play directly underneath here to spot people walking in. And this is where you can go ahead and swap to group, or the bread bite, or whatever. Because as soon as you see that, maybe you get a 450, and you choose to waddle all the way up. From here, that's when you can either take this shutter and try to fight combo directly from this angle right here, or you're fighting the people who are playing over here. You always have a visual of the people playing deeper inside of Death Hall, so you can make or break a hold, or make or break a push just from peeking a certain angle. You have control. It's really, really nice. And the best part is that you know when people are walking DE connector, this is the best angle for you to sit at. They should not be checking over here unless they're weird. And by the time you know that somebody's playing over here, it's already too late. You can rotate all the way over and be prepared for the fight. The only thing that you're looking for is any one of the combo members. So a pyro, a heavy, a demo, maybe even a scout. That's all you would need in order for you to make that judgment call. And it's a very easy judgment call. And notice how we also have the shutter open as well. I'm not just peeking over here. I'm keeping tabs, I'm paying mind. But I'm also peeking lobby as well. This is important because while you can simultaneously play over here, which could enable you to have perfect timing playing over here, that's not to say that you do much until you get to those spots. So what does that mean for you? Sometimes you're going to have to play aggressive. Sometimes it means you're going to have to play by lockers, holding down the angle. And like a heavy being able to peek into here, you will be peeked at as well. If anybody goes lockers, they now have a direct visual on where you are at, and they know what you're going to be doing. So, you do the exact same thing to them, and if you are not spotted, then you can play these spots a bit more coordinated. And even still, once these people are out, pay attention to this angle. You don't want to be caught out. Try playing it a little bit wide if need be, because at least then you have a head glitch that you can try fighting from. But generally speaking, this is the place that you'd want to be playing. And from there, you're going to try taking lobby like so. You're not going to be going lockers. You could, but this is just generally slower if nobody is there. And if somebody is there, you're jumping into them. Usually it's a heavy. That heavy's going to be prepared for you. So you're going to be losing that fight. More often than not. With that being said, though, somebody needs to check it. If you're able to get the kill, ignore lockers, you're walking with your combo. And from here, you're either peeking like so, if they're trying to, keep space in lobby. Or if there's no space at all, you're playing by this corner. Why is this important? If your combo's playing in lobby, the main idea is for you to be a secondary force helping your combo stave any sort of pressure being built upon you. You're helping your demo lock this angle down. You're helping your pyro lock this angle down. If they back up, you back up. You are an anchor that people revolve around. But more importantly, you can be an initiator. You can be a defender. You can be whatever you want to be in the spot as long as you have 450 and as long as you have a plan with your combo. This also funnels them into one way of playing. And generally speaking, if you have a good spy who gives you good information, this is a terrible place for people to peek, for them to push against. Because at that point, they're pushing into a choke point. And that's not really fun for them, but it can be fun for you. The main idea is this. You prevent them from getting space over here. Not so much in here. You can do that. But it's not required because other people do it better. And if somebody's dead, it might be better for you to just back off and play D and E. If your demo's dead, and you don't have the space to fight things, like let's just say your demo's dead, but you still have Uber and a Pyro. You guys should be holding the angle. 9 times out of 10. That's just how it is. But if you don't have Uber, maybe they have Uber, and your demo dies, you back up. You just leave. Cut your losses, do what you can, just run away. Another thing to be aware of. As well as on Heaven, which we'll talk about more, Sniper and JFK. He can actually peek this window and try to snipe people like your medic, like your demo. So it's not even their combo that's going to be the main threat, it's just the people in JFK. And then of course you always have Spy, which you need to be aware of. You can always decloak over here, for example, so you need to be mindful of that. And you're playing over here, and you're not so much playing by this corner, because the Spy can actually sit over here. And if you're playing like this, there is a chance for him to jump on your head like so. So that's why we're sitting up here. Is it perfect? No, the spy still has room to stab you. Is it better than the alternatives? Yeah. Pretty much. It also bears repeating, heaven control is important, and if your team loses it, your combo should be incentivized to leave as soon as possible, or stay in the angle with the idea of fighting this. But again, it's telegraphed. If they set up a base and you're sitting over here, this is the only real way of trying to push against them. And they can prep for that. Backing up isn't necessarily retreating, it's more so reclaiming space that you should already have. So you help get the gun, you help clear people out of this area. You do what you need to do. Moreover, if there are people on point and you're playing by this area, you can walk towards this side, and if you need to, fight the people by this area if they're already on heaven. And you're able to fight over here with the caveat that if they know where you're at playing Wishbone, they can jiggle peek you, maybe they use stickies, and they can just do a whole bunch of damage. But mostly it's just that JFK sniper. If he's sitting up by the window, you're dead. So, what do you do from there? If you know that the sniper is doing really, really oppressive stuff, but you have the opportunity to play heaven, what you can do is Fist of Steel, and play this corner, anticipating them to try and walk forward. Notice the advantages that I've listed so far with a lot of these spots. This helps you keep point control. This helps you fight a little bit of heaven in case they do walk D. Maybe they get cap and then you're just holding on for dear life. But it's just a nice, different way for you to play. It gives you more leverage over point control. People are going to have to consider crossing over the bridge with a heavy over here. And it's just a much safer version of this, but if you notice that the sniper is not in JFK, maybe they're by Wishbone, this becomes the best spot. If there are bridges, that's where things become a little bit more contentious. And if you lose D, then it's really contentious. Like, you're sitting up here, or you're leaving and trying to fight with your combo in main, or not main, sorry, in lobby. But if you have heaven, you control it for as long as you can, this is the best spot to do that. If they cap D, and you're playing in heaven, this is the best spot to stand. And of course, if your combo's playing over here, that's nice. There's just no room for backing up. You're holding this or you're not holding this. The best thing that you can do is drop down, do what you need to do if people are walking through, stop people from walking in, mind the bridge, mind people walking through as well. You should be calling this out for your team if you notice that they cap D, but they're walking through lobby. You have information. Use it. But all of this, from this one spot in the spawn, looking over here, it's weird, right? But this map is already weird. We're not even playing the map creator's intended way of playing. We're playing an older version of the map. Usually, we're probably at a spite. And despite all of its flaws, this is one of the most fun maps for heavies. Yes, there are a lot of sniper spots, there are a lot of open ground, a lot of places where you could just get completely fucked over. But I think that this is a fun map. I think that if played properly with a team that's cohesive and very, very comm-heavy, you're gonna have a blast. It is the upset map for a reason. So, if you're able to be good at this map, if your team is good at this map, that is an instant ban from the people that you're playing against. Think about that. You win against them on this map, boom. Nobody wants to play Steel if they're losing, so they're going to make it a ban. If they allow it, anything goes. It's the wild card map. It's the upset map. It's where people just aim to play better TF2 than the other people. It's the only attack defense map in the entire pool that's still consistently played. And it's for a good reason. It's one of the only good ones. Probably the only good one. In my opinion. I think Nidal's flawed, but that's besides the point. I've talked to you about everything.
That was garbage.
Is there any questions?
Uh, Not really. I mean, it's steel. I feel like this is one that like me in particular. I feel like I overcomplicate a lot. Which literally just boils down to stand here when this, stand here when that. Like obviously there's a lot of nuance in the specific interactions, but I feel like easy to overcomplicate. So I guess like how would I actually avoid like overcomplicating it other than just playing, reviewing, all that stuff?
Well, most of it just comes down to experience. Most people overcomplicate things when they lack that experience to make that judgment call. If they've played the map a couple of times, they know what the best strategy is, and they're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, they're not trying to innovate, they're just trying to hone. That's when things become a lot more simple, and that's when you recognize the value of the places that you play in. And there is nuance, right? But there's only so much. Like, if you're playing this head glitch, the immediate value is much more threatening for you against them than is this heavy walking at you over here. Even if you die, this gives your team information. If they back up, then your team is best able to deal with this heavy as soon as you die, and even though it's not an even pick, now it makes this push even harder to try and do. Unless they have Uber. So yes, while you might have a 30-second spawn and their spawn is instantaneous, and they might have like a 15-second jump start on you, that's just something that you have to consider. Like, it's not going to be perfect by design. Most of these spots are just going to have to be played to the way that you want to play. If you're super aggressive, it doesn't matter if people know you're over here, you're just going to try and kill them either way. Sometimes you might even ignore this area altogether just to chimp for this fight, which I think is funny, but can lead to mistakes happening. Other people like to play a little bit slower, more methodical. They notice that they can play wider angles to get more coverage over the map. So they play this, they play the head glitch, and if they take an Uber exchange, not too much changes with the rotate out. The only thing that changes is if you use Fist of Steel, it's better. You're peeking into a sniper sight line if there's snipers sitting window. Yeah, it's just the little things like that. But again, it's more so just what other people can do and what you can do in the positions that you're given and the opportunities that you're also given. If they're down people who are going to prevent people from bombing in, it makes a collapse better. Likewise, if you're playing in a spot where people can't easily walk through, it makes the areas of target and the areas that you should be looking at that much more important. You're just looking for something to do at the end of the day. And at that point, you're just looking for the best way at actually doing that thing. So, while that is a long-winded response to your question, or more so just a rhetorical question than anything else, that's pretty much it for the nuance of heavy. I mean, most of it is going to boil down to experience, right? A lot of it also just boils down to the experience you have with the cohort that you're playing against and with. And I say cohort, I really mean it. Because you guys are going to be learning the exact same things. You guys are going to have the same or similar opportunities. The only thing that changes is the type of information that you're given, the consistency at which you play, and just generally what you're able to do compared to the other team is much more of a knowledge gap in your div than it would be against other teams in higher divs. At that point, consistency reigns supreme, because at that point, any single heavy can do well if they're given the opportunity. So I would just focus on trying to learn the map instead of trying to overcomplicate things, and just boil it down to simple gameplay habits. Habits, not patterns. That's a difference, right? I more so mean when you're ready to push, call that you're ready to push and what angle you're ready to push from. If you're peeking from main on second offense, say, I'm ready to peek main. I'm going through main. I'm fighting. And then you call focuses. Demos hit 100. Pyros hit 50. Heavies hit 200. Or even just calling it like, hey, deal with the combo and then deal with the heavy over by chat. And as long as your callouts are correct, people know where that heavy is, then it just becomes simple as dealing with that guy before the other combo walks in. And then you play around that. If you're more experienced, you start noticing, like, hey, I'm fighting the people like this over Shaq. This enables them to walk into me and they deal damage to me where it otherwise shouldn't have been happening. So maybe I can play the head glitch over here, get the exact same thing, but at least if they spam me, then my combo doesn't get spammed. Or even better, maybe I start playing over here. And that's where it starts becoming great, because if they're walking into me, now they're playing in an angle where they're going to have to walk deeper into me and look up. For me to have that be a thing and my combo playing over here, I'm just doing this. I can always drop down and make it better for myself. That's what these positions unlock for you. But notice what I also did there. It's not cut and dry all the time. There's experiments constantly happening. If you notice that you're peaking an angle too much, or you're peaking an angle haphazardly, you're doing it way too fast, you slow it down. It's the little things like that. So with that being said, is there any other questions? No? Alright, sweet. Well, yeah, that's the
Yeah, no, I don't got anything.
But yeah, that's gonna be the final review, final map talk for this season, which is crazy because it hasn't really felt like a season. It's felt like a mini season more so than anything else, but this winter semester's also gone by stupidly fast. It's already finals week. Or nearing finals
Yeah.
week.
Wait, it's finals for you? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got done like mid.
I mean,
My finals like going for like a month. I start like 2 weeks from now, but
yeah, for me it's just different school. I mean, I'm in a school on the other side of the continent, pretty much, from where like everybody else plays. So.
yeah, type shit.
Yeah. Alright, but I'm gonna head out for right now. Catch you later. Thank you for being consistent wherever you could be.
Yeah.
Alright. Sweet.
I will. I might try and get a demo review. It's weird because I don't really have a lot of good demos from the season to review, because a lot of it is just like my team having issues because my TL's kind of a chud.
Yeah, but I mean that's happening every single season, man.
Yeah.
Like
Obviously like there are things that I can work on. It's just very tough for me to like find a demo where it's like, okay, here's one where there's like enough value I can get out of this. Because a lot of the time it's like, oh, here's like the one or two obvious things that I did wrong. Here's what I can do to fix them.
right.
And I don't know, there's a lot of moments where I'm just not able to be as expressive with the gameplay as I'm gonna put it.
Mm.
Because my team wants me to follow like a very simple game plan, which is fine. I don't have any issues with that. I would rather do something where my team knows what I'm doing, even if it's suboptimal. Mostly because it's amateur and I can get away with it. If I'm not getting away with it if I'm struggling, then like obviously that's when I like just go off and do whatever it is I need to do. But
No, I mean that's fair as well.
yeah,
But
I mean like I'm doing well this season, right? So like whatever I'm doing, it's working. It's working.
Keep at that.
Yeah.
Focus your pace on the level of your team. As much as I'd want you to improve as fast as I have, there comes a point when you realize like working with your team is much better than working with your individual self if there's a chance at winning. If there's no chance at winning, my advice completely gets thrown out the window. Play for yourself. Try making yourself look as
No,
best as possible.
there's a chance at winning, but it like ultimately like I have done whatever I can do to contribute to the team, and I will continue doing as much as I can. But the amount, even if I like all of a sudden drop like crazy nukes every game, that will not be enough because there are other fundamental issues that the team needs to address that any one player being like goated with the sauce is not going to fix.
Yeah, but that's
Okay, yeah, carries can only exist on teams that are good enough.
Nah, man. It's just how it is sometimes. I mean, there's going to be
Yeah,
players who just absolutely help their team, and then their team just doesn't give them the help back.
yeah,
And sometimes at that point, if you're dropping nukes, you just get on a better team. If your team's
yeah.
holding you
I mean,
back, that's one thing, but it just sounds like your team is, from what I'm getting at, it sounds like the team that you have is slowly progressing. And I think that that should be the
yeah.
priority.
I mean, like again, they've gotten a lot better, and I still think that like we can win the division. It's not impossible. This is more so that we're kind of having like a little bit of rockiness ahead of playoffs, which is not something you want to see. But like I think like we can get over it, right?
Yeah.
I think my team just needs to like stop being a chud.
What does that mean?
So one of the things that like is happening is he's kind of doing this thing where he's not really consulting with the rest of the team before making a decision.
Mm.
And so, for example, last week we ran one NG all throughout the week. And there's one guy that he wanted to run over our current NG, which is fine. He's a better NG. The problem is that that person has a bit of an ego, and we had to cut a player or two in the early season for that exact reason. Alicio got dropped because he was showing too much of an ego. Uh,
Right.
so this player was being basically a little bit like ego, and they hadn't scrimmed with the team all week, and we were playing product in a very specific way because the team that we were fighting played product in a very weird way. So we were basically practicing against that one team because we knew that like against most other teams the product is fine. So it wasn't something that we really need to work on until like playoffs came around. And our TL was just like, no, I'm gonna run this other guy that like the other 8 of you have clearly expressed you do not want to run this week.
Yeah,
So that
that's
was just like one
problematic.
example, and like it's a lot of like roster shakeups just are coming in unannounced. Even like that main TL was like talking about like, oh yeah, I might like replace like either my NG or my heavy, and then the other two TLs on the team was like, why are you going to replace our heavy? Why would you even like consider that? And like that was, and like my gameplay suffered for it because as far as I was where I was playing as if I was going to get cut, and typically when that happens is because like I'm not putting up numbers, even if I'm like actively contributing in other ways. Like it'll be like, oh yeah, I have like 2 kills, 50 million assists, but they only look at KD and they only look at damage, and they're like, oh, this guy's good, this guy's bad, when it's a lot more than that.
Right.
So I ended up playing a lot, like way more aggressive than I needed to, and like my gameplay kind of suffered for it. So that was fun.
I'm sorry about that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just.
Again, I don't think he's a bad person by any means. I think more so, just a little old fashioned. Let's put it that way.
Mm. Then I would stress more to just keep things simple.
Yeah.
Illustrate your complaint. If he doesn't improve it, there's not much to improve, unfortunately. And if he's gonna
I
make
sit
you
on the
feel
B
worse,
point. I rev the gun. I
if
shoot
he's gonna
down the.
if he's gonna complain about the way that you play, some people just won't see the value that you have,
Yeah.
and that's just something that's gonna have to be accepted.
Shout out John.
It's a hard pill to swallow, but that's just how it is. I mean, you're not going to
Yeah.
be making friends all the time, but as long as you're
Yeah.
just stating your mind and people agree with you on the
Yeah.
team, there's more precedent for people.
Yeah,
To
we were able to work through like at least my issues. So
Well,
like
no,
obviously
no,
like
no.
I'm not.
Let's stop talking about your issues. Let's talk about the other team's issue, like other
Yeah.
teammates' issues, because your demo doing that, causing roster shakeups, is going to be very weird.
Oh
I've
yeah.
dealt with that during my grand finals of season 12. Yes, season 12. We replaced our pyro with somebody different, and our pyro, that was their last season, and we more or less just cut them from for another player, which I thought was stupid. Even if that player played better than our main, I'd rather play with my main. But that's
Yeah.
just because my
It's a
sentiment
respect and an
there.
etiquette thing.
Yes,
Like above all else, right?
But
if I'm playing with someone who's like dog shit, but he's here every time, he's making a genuine effort to improve, and he's not like actively causing us to lose games, then I'd rather play with him because he's going to know how the rest of us play, which as far as I'm concerned, is going to make him 200 times better.
right.
Because if we switch to another player, that other player now needs to learn how the rest of his team plays, and that can slow down a team, or even some teams don't even recover from that.
That is true. And you want to know what people might say? Might. Not always, but might. They're good enough to do that. Completely dismissing your point.
Yeah.
And like I said, my main illustration is that some people might be very hard to reason with. And I fear that your team leader is going to be very hard to listen to because he's already been making these decisions for a little bit. It's already playoffs. Why would he need to change things now?
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't try to complain, but if that issue does become more persistent, you get every single other person with you as much as you can, and you talk with them about it.
Yeah.
More or less just have an intervention, just be like, hey, this is wrong.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, like, because we did, like, talk to him, obviously, after product week. We ended up losing that official, I think, like, 8-1. And there were a lot of issues, but a lot of that was because, like again, like, product week, there was more than just, like, the roster shakeups thing. Like, some of us were out sick, right? Like, I was sick all weekend. I was, like, genuinely struggling to play. But it was like, you know what? I've got nothing better to do. And you guys don't really have another heavy player, so it's either I'm here or we fight 8v9, which sucks, but did what I had to do. Yeah, like, two of my players are Brazilian, so that always sometimes has issues.
Ping wise, not so much people wise, because
Yeah, no. It was more so like an availability thing that time because they had
yeah.
like cause like time zones and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was already like a pretty rough week for us. It was winnable because it's normally a team that we historically have done well against, especially on like other COF maps. But like I think that time more than ever we needed like clear direction, and we just didn't really get the support that we needed from the TL. So like after the official, we pulled them aside and it was like we're like, hey, dude, like we love you, bro, but like you gotta start listening to like your team. You gotta start listening at the very least. Listen to your other two TLs because you have one TL who is actively trying to like do all these things that you're not. And we've made that very clear that we are respecting those efforts from him. So it's not fair for you to say like, oh, I don't want to like do all this or do all that because you guys aren't going to like respect that or listen to me. When we've already shown that like we literally will because your other like co-TL is doing all this stuff. You are the one that's ignoring him. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just kind of chilling.
That's good.
Because like I don't know if I'm gonna play heavy next season because I will probably have to move out of amateur even if like I don't podium. There's a decent chance that I end up restricted anyways because I think like the top like 6 or so heavies in amateur right now are just so much better than everyone else that it's like actually kind of sad. Like the difference is huge because like each of those 6 players can like go even with one another and like they're all pretty decent.
They like mollywop the rest of the league.
Yeah, and then they just like fucking like rape everyone else, to put it bluntly. Even then, sometimes there's like it's weird because like for example, I will like usually go even with whoever I'm playing against. Because I usually just try and like match the other heavy, right? I don't want to like overstep and get like caught with my pants down.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just playing with my limits, which is fine, and like that's what's been working for me. That's where I'm finding the most success. Even if it's just like an 8v8 where I'm just like me and the other heavy are just like dead all the time because we keep killing each other. That's fine. I can live with that. But I don't know. This whole season's been weird with like performance wise. but like overall, I'm performing well. Like I'm not upset about how I'm performing, which is a huge, like that's a huge improvement for me.
And that's
Because like I think like you're probably aware of this, but like I historically have not been very proud of how I've been playing
I
in the
mean,
past,
I'm
and
not even gonna lie. It just seemed like you were hard stuck.
yeah,
You want to.
I mean,
I mean, admittedly, you want to ask me for advice, and you occasionally come in, but you know,
yeah,
the
a lot of
wants
it, a
and
lot of it was just like a mindset thing.
like the wants that you have and the desire for you to actually reach out to me, it's kind of just been not there. Which is why
Yeah,
I mean, I also am to blame a little bit. I promised that I would be messaging you more, and I wasn't on top of it, so that's my
yeah. I
fault.
mean, it is what it is, and like with this season in particular, obviously in the previous seasons, like that's yeah, that was just like a thing that needed to be worked on. Because again, like the desire was there, but the actual mindset wasn't.
Yeah.
So like basically, I was just complaining, right? Because like I'd be like, oh, I'm not good enough, yada yada, but then I actually wouldn't do the things to improve, right? The mindset wasn't there. Now it's like, okay, I want to review. I know what I need to review. I just literally don't have anything that's like worth it because a lot of the games are so simple that I can go over with my team or with like any like advanced or invite player and just be like, okay, what's going on here? And they'd be
Okay,
like,
but
oh yeah,
okay,
these are
so
like the
you mentioned a category that I'm in, so why not just review with me?
yeah, fair enough. Uh,
Yeah, just
but
keep
yeah, a
things
lot of it is
simple.
just like
If I mean, if you have any worries, just message me.
yeah,
Like, even if it seems like your team can help with you, maybe they're just something. Maybe they're doing something that's like wrong, right? Like
yeah,
teams in amateur are going to come up with like Reddit tech plays as to how to play maps like product. Like, oh,
yeah,
we're gonna hold
yeah.
forward
We're
on.
gonna run like level 2
No, no,
on
no, no,
when
no,
we're
no, no,
holding
no,
the
no, no, no,
point.
no, 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 no. We're not doing that. No, we're gonna be holding aggressive on the point. And when they mean aggressive, they mean by like the fence of their rock, but not past that. You know,
Yeah,
like the
that
parts
was
where
like
the
the one thing that like I kept telling my team like, dude, you guys need to like play up on point,
Yep. Yeah,
please.
but
Because
and
I
like
would like that second half of the product official, holy shit.
yeah, and then
I
like
was just like eating shit on like no fault of my own because like I was playing up with the expectation that my team was on point.
well, okay, at that point, no, it is kind of on you. Don't blame it just on your team. You're also at fault for that.
Yeah,
If you notice that a demo is not playing with you,
yeah.
fuck the
But my demo was
expectation.
up too though. That's the thing.
No, no, no. Fuck the expectation. If you just turn around and you see him not there, you leave. That's all.
Hmm.
You just keep it simple. So, like on a map like Product, you can play selfish. On a map like Asheville, you're gonna have to play team oriented. So
Yeah.
that's when
I
expectations
was
become a
actually
little
like
bit
kind of
weird.
surprised with product because like Astro like we don't really have those issues. Like if you look on Astro, we're actually like not fearing
Right, but you're more of a
the
team
video on
player, and I
product.
can see that.
Yeah.
So when you're playing on a map that's more selfish, that's more oriented on you living, controlling
Right.
concrete, and then pushing crates,
Right.
that is going to be an issue if you're just not supported whatsoever. So
Right.
that would be an issue where, yes, it could be the team's fault, but it's also on you for not recognizing that situation. And that's a mindset thing, and that is something that's going to have to be learned about over time. I'm
Right.
also, admittedly, I'm also a little bit tired right now. I said it as such a little bit ago, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think I might just have to cut off the conversation.
No, that's fair.
I
It's like 12 in the morning for me. I should probably I have to be up in like fucking 5 hours.
yeah. Oh, dude, go to sleep then, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Up in 5 hours. Go.
I
Dude,
well
sleep.
okay. It's the weekend.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be up, then I'm gonna go back to bed for like a little bit.
Dude, on the
But it didn't
weekend,
change the fact that I need to be up for some amount of time.
even still, I would just try going to sleep as soon as possible,
Decent
man.
time. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but the shawarma place I like closes at like 3. And like
I would go to
oh
sleep
yeah,
right now.
I kinda need some
Don't overthink it.
yeah.
Just go to sleep right now. I'm
Yeah,
gonna head
no,
out.
no, I know.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Hagen, you should go to sleep, bro.
All right. Talk to you guys
No,
later. See ya.
I see it too.